might work for like 1 in 50 communities, but if you want your systems to work for everybody, you gotta make it.
Simon Holm is the youngest Skool Games winner. He has won the games 3 times, and in this video, we're talking about how he became a successful entrepreneur at such a young age, why he chose to be an operator instead of building his own community, and his advice for people who are new to online business and want to get started with growth operating without making the same mistakes that 99% of people are making. Simon, so cool to meet you. You are the youngest Skool Games winner. Tell me a bit about how you got into this whole thing.
Yeah, so it's been a great journey, especially in school. I've gotten introduced to a lot of great people. I've done some great stuff. I've met people who've done some great stuff, and it's been a wild ride. So what got into it in the beginning was I was playing esports professionally. Then when I got really good at that, started getting some earnings. Then I got introduced to the esports coaching space, which later got me into the business coaching space because I discovered how much money you can make from it. And I started working with people that were either in the influencer section that were doing info products or operations or hosting courses. And that's when I got introduced to Skool. So I started working with a few people doing operations for school communities and for course creators. And then when I got some great results with that, I launched my own school community.
Uh,
And in just about a week, little over a week, I started High Society on the 21st of July. And I won the July Skool Games as yeah.
it's shocking. How were you able to do it so fast? Like within just launching that community and then blow it up like that?
It's all just momentum, really. I mean, it seemed for everybody that knew about my name at that point, which is like, what, 10 months ago or something now? Yeah, everybody that knew about me, they thought it was overnight success because Max Person, I was working with him when I created my school community,
Mm.
and then my name was just public all of a sudden, and people saw it as like a overnight success when I just appeared on the leaderboard. But I'd been working in the space for a year at that point,
Mm.
full time, just grinding my ass off behind the scenes with a couple other creators. Nobody knew who I was,
Mm.
so it really was just momentum. And when I decided to pull the trigger and launch my own community, I just had to show the people that the results that I created before. After that, I just needed to get some urgency on it because it really was urgency. I
Mm.
wanted to win the school games, and y'all had 7 days to sign up. So I mean
That's
that's how it went.
that's so crazy. Tell me a little bit about what it was like during that period when you were hustling to win the Skool Games. Like what were those days like?
It was pretty much the same as every other day that
Huh.
summer.
That's so weird. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit stressful at the end because the other people that were participating in the school games, they were also like running for that spot. And
Yeah.
I saw the other people, they were going off thousands and thousands a day. And I had to compete with that.
Mm.
So I had to go all in on advertising more than I ever done before. So that was the difference. And I went from, I was working like 8-hour days that summer.
Yeah.
And in the last days of the school games, like the last 4 days, I was doing like 14, 16 hours a day.
How did you manage at such a young age to be able to figure out like ads as well as coaching, all these different skill sets? Like, were you running your own ads? Did you start hiring out these different skills?
So I didn't run paid ads at the time. It was all organic through my network that I created through operations before that.
Hmm.
Um, I learned that all those skill sets later on. Now I know all about, organic, paid, everything,
Mm.
all the systems and everything. I knew like a tenth of the knowledge that I do now.
Mm.
Um, and I think if you really want to pursue something, and you just have to be obsessive.
Mm.
And I think I'm just that type of person. I can't live normally. I can't have like a work life balance. I think I'm just autistic like that.
Mm.
Um I just go all in on whatever that I work on. That's
Yeah.
why that like at that point there was no other part to my life than the business I was running.
Mm.
Like nothing. I'm gonna be completely honest. I was not spending time with any family, any friends. Like I was not outside.
Mm.
I didn't want to. Not because I couldn't. I love to go to the gym, I love to play sports. I love to play video games. But like, you know, I just didn't want to. I just wanted to work.
I love that, man. When you were working during that period, was there any particular task that you were really obsessed with? Like for people who are watching, I'm sure there's some people who are just trying to figure out what is the thing that's gonna move the needle right now. Like what was it that was really moving the needle for you during that time
During the time that I was
that you were
trying for
pushing
the
for the
school games,
games? Yeah.
yeah, it was just advertising.
Hmm.
Like just trying to quickly get people on calls. In that week, it was just an insane amount of calls. I was doing like 300 DMs a day.
Wow.
And on top of that, about like 8 sales calls. I was not very good at sales calls back then.
Hmm.
It has improved a lot, but yeah, if you had like my skill level back then, and you just do the amount of volume that I did,
Mm.
you'd probably reach the same results that I did.
That's crazy. So
It's just a
how did you connect with that many people then? If you're doing 300 DMs a day or all these sales calls, like, was
yeah.
that through school? Was that like, where were you meeting all these people?
That was through the network that I built up at the time. So
Okay.
through working with, obviously in the influencer industry that I'm in, you meet a lot of people.
Mm.
Cause the influencers that you work with, they have a lot of followers, and then you get introduced to a lot of other people naturally, and it was through there.
Mm. And if somebody's like just getting started and they're looking to maybe get into school somehow, like what would you say is the best route for somebody who maybe who doesn't have any experience, doesn't have an influencer network or anything like that? Like
Yeah.
how should they get into it?
If you don't have any experience, you start exactly the way that I did, which is start helping people for free.
Mm.
Start reaching out to people and build like a genuine connection, because you can't really be genuine online because everybody wants to make money and nobody wants to admit it.
Mm.
You just need to have the desire to help people in exchange for getting paid. And if in the beginning you don't have any demand for yourself because people don't know who you are, and you to be honest, like you can't really do anything because you haven't done anything
Of
before.
course, yeah.
So you have to start working for people for free. Find something that you can that they can outsource to. Like you can be a setter, you can do engagement in their community, you can do anything.
Mm.
And as soon as you provide some type of result for anybody, and you get like either a case study, you get a testimonial, that's when you can just start building your own offer and start advertising your own offer.
Mm.
You can't do it before then because then it's fake.
Right.
Like you can't build a fake business. Like that doesn't work.
What kind of offers that you're working on right now? Like now that you've got all this experience, you've won the games 3 times from what I understand, like,
Yep.
what are you up to now?
Yeah, I'm just up to. I'm working with 2 companies, bigger companies. I'm doing a consultant type offer for them. I do all their operations, so all their backend sales systems, their follow-up systems, and all their automations in their business. And then I work with a content guy, and we also set up all their content systems. And then we work with a couple of coaches and set them up with people to actually deliver the service. So we're like an all-around consultation service.
Very cool. What is it that
Yeah.
you like the most about the back end kind of stuff, like setting all that stuff up?
Um, I just don't like being the creator,
Hmm.
and there's only like 2 sides of the coin. You can either be a creator or operator. That's like the main 2 sides. There's of course many other roles inside a business, but those are the main. You're either on camera or off camera.
Hmm.
And I chose the off camera part because I like that.
Hmm. And So you like off camera, but we're here right now doing this interview. Do you think
Yeah.
there's a possibility of you shifting to do, I don't know, like some type of creator kind of role in the future?
Well, I've always liked being, you know, a person of influence. I just have seen myself gravitate more towards the operation side, always. But I always seek to expand my my level of influence,
Hmm.
and that's ultimately why I'm here.
For somebody who's listening to this and they're wanting to get into the operations side of things, what are some
Yeah.
skills that you feel like they should be working on to really move forward there? You know, like you mentioned automations, like should
Mm.
somebody be doubling down on trying to learn automations if they want to be an operator? Is that like one of the most important things, or should like what kind of things should they be working on?
If you really want to get good at operations from the beginning, you gotta know how people work, and uh, and then you gotta learn like the software. So you gotta learn Zapier, you gotta learn GHL maybe if you want to use that. You gotta learn the software, and then you gotta learn people.
Hmm.
And what a lot of people that are looking to be quote unquote growth operators, I don't like to use the term, but that's the term that everybody uses. Um, a really s- good side of that that's not looked much at is you gotta be good at talking to people. You gotta be good at talking to the guy you're working with. You gotta be
Hmm.
good at communicating, knowing exactly what he wants and how you can make that happen.
Hmm.
Without that, you're just constantly stuck delivering a thing that people don't want.
Hmm.
Um, and as soon as you figure out exactly what people want, then you can start delivering on that.
That's a really interesting answer. I wasn't expecting that. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people, maybe we have an assumption that the operations side is really technical and it's not as much about people's skills, maybe, but that's really fascinating. So you're saying that uh, being able to understand the people that you're working with and figure out what they actually want is in some ways more important than the
That
actual building of the things for them?
that's the biggest part actually, because most operators, from what I know, I've talked to about 100 different people that are successful in the growth operating space. Most of them, when they weren't successful, they were just providing a
Hmm.
like generic growth operating. So they would do like a generic salesy copywriting. They would do like a generic, email automation, SMS automation. They
Yeah.
would do like, the standard blueprint engagement tactics for school communities and social media.
Hmm.
And that doesn't work. That might work for like 1 in 50 communities. But if you want your systems to work for everybody, you gotta make it details for what they do specifically. You can't do the same automations and operation for everybody. That's the approach that so many people make, because that's the easiest. It's the easiest to just use the same systems as you've always done.
Yeah.
But
That's
that's not what works with the people that want to actually be successful in this niche.
Does that mean that when you're working with a new creator that you have to kind of build it from scratch every time?
No, not at all. We have like a set of systems and operations that are already in place and that can be changed, like Zapier. You have to do a little tricks to the copy maybe.
Hmm.
Um, but that side is always set, and then everything else you have to kind of like customize for each individual.
Hmm.
So if it's a Miami Guru, I was working with one of them. um you want to be following up a lot, like you would want the SMS text like 3 times a day,
Hmm.
because those people, they're just scrolling social media all day and they forget that they have to show up to like a webinar. They forget that they have to like do stuff. But if you're working with people who are doing like a high ticket consulting offer or a
Right.
high ticket coaching offer, you wanna be like it's more like personalized follow ups with them, and actual people talking to them and keeping them on track, and instead of just a reminder to show up to a webinar, it needs to be like, is there anything else you need support with, coming from like an actual setter or a
Right.
closer. Um,
That,
so that's what you need to tailor to each specific person.
man, this is so cool to hear. It sounds really nuanced in a way that I wasn't expecting. I'm not in that space myself, so
Yep.
that's really cool. I'm curious about you personally. Like, what are you most interested in terms of the Skool platform, where things are going? Is there anything that you're really excited about on the horizon?
Dude, I just love school. It's so fun. Like, it is actually so fun. That's all I can say, really, because I really like the fun part of business.
Mm.
I don't normally wear college shirts, but my sister said I look good in them.
Gotta listen to the
Uh,
sister.
but I like the authentic part of it.
Yeah.
I really dislike LinkedIn. I really dislike like the normal stereotypical businessman vibe. I really dislike a lot of part about business. All the fancy titles that you gotta have, like growth operator or
Mm.
strategist or some like. I just like what school does. They call it wizard and all that.
Mm.
I just like it. It's fun.
I love that, man. Let's leave it
Yep.
there. It's such a good thing to meet you, man. I really learned a lot from this call, and it's just so inspiring to see somebody who's so young and seems like such a genuinely amazing person crushing it on the platform. So cheers.
Cheers, man.